Happy Sunday, everyone.
Yes, it is January 22nd at 5:36. So we are recording. We got it started this time. So everybody, welcome to week 2. We had a GU group go out this week. Gio, tell us where they went. I think it's Gio. Yeah, it's Gio. Gio, are you there? I think he's there. Anyway, we had a group go to Nigeria, and we had we've gone to Nigeria a couple times, and Nigeria is broken into the more dangerous part and then the safer part. And obviously we go to the safer part and work with some nonprofits there, and go to prisons, and we go to orphanages, and we go to all kinds of things. So Gio's dad, it's his first big trip overseas, so he got to go, and also our leaders from Denver, and he got to take 2 young men, and I think it was their first trip overseas. So it's really exciting for us to see that happen, because it gives people that don't always get a chance to do stuff like this a chance to go somewhere.
Yeah,
so,
it was Jeff Hall. Jeff Hall? Is that
Jeff
right?
Hall.
Yep, he's one of my good friends.
Well, Jeff needs all the friends he can get, so it's good to know. So the 2 young men that he took, have they been overseas, or do you know?
I think this is their first time going overseas. Yes.
Okay, that's exciting. Jeff always takes young men, and it's great to see. So anyway, that's what's going on, and
Yeah, I'll be going with him next time.
there we go. So anyway, we're gonna pass the baton over to Veronica, and she's gonna get us through a couple pages of or a little bit of our first part here.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and start. We're going to do section 4, investigating nonprofits. This course, or actually this section, is going to be a lot of financials. We'll be looking at some financials, kind of looking at revenue, what they're currently using, the revenue, how the money's coming in, how the money's going out. We'll look at staff, talk about really going into the just the reports, but a couple of things here. Have you guys been getting our emails? Just want to make sure. Okay.
Yes.
Want to make sure that no one is off that distribution list, because if you guys are not on it, it's we want to make sure we get you on. And then also, have you guys signed up for the Facebook page, Instagram, just to kind of see what's going on, activity? Like right now we have Nigeria out on a team, and so usually they try to post just to keep you guys updated on what's going on. So it's nice to kind of see the teams out there. I think Dan and I are the ones who actually post a lot when we're on our trips. So you'll see a lot of activity there. All right, and then one more thing. Did you guys get a chance to print out the 990 analysis? It's a scorecard. Perfect. Okay, because we'll be using that today. So we'll be looking at some organizations, kind of doing some scoring, and that's going to give you guys an idea of when you guys do your own research, how to score them. So, all right. So reviewing, last week's homework, just, class participation. What do you guys think about, the people in need? What do you guys think about, do you guys, did you guys relate to that? Do you guys have a passion? People in poverty, people that are, that are oppressed. Any feedback on that? What did you guys thought of the homework? Nope. No, everyone got that already?
I would say I have a passion for it, and was renewed in that activity, just for those who need education or increased training, just an opportunity to get skills to be able to take care of themselves.
Yep, that was a good one. The lack of skills. Anyone else want to participate?
As a mechanical engineer, I was very impressed at the solar company
in Haiti, Anastaris, whatever it's called. And just kind of understanding a little bit about how they as an organization were moving relative to the ebbs and flows of how Haiti was dealing with not only the hurricane and not the hurricane, the earthquake and the aftermath, but also just how the market was just instantly flooded with solar panels and how that really deaded the that particular market in Haiti. And so you got to kind of treat each has its own ecosystem. And then if you put too much of one thing, you really don't cultivate an environment that enables practical growth well in these respective areas. So not just intention, but quantity needs to be kept in mind in terms of how companies or countries are supported.
Aaron, you got that from the movie, is that correct?
I did.
Mhm.
Okay, just so everybody is aware, we have on your to-do list, Poverty Inc., and that's where he was getting that information. So did you like the movie?
I like the movie a lot. I mean, I was aware of this kind of practice in small scales, just in mission trips and working with different groups over the past, but just kind of seeing a new flavor to that, or one that's got a lot more broadband to it was really insightful.
Yep.
We have a question about that. We went to go watch the documentary and we found a couple different ones that went by that name. Is there any more details that can be shared so we make sure we're watching the right one?
It's
There's
actually
one-
on the Give University website. If you go to the student section,
Right.
it'll take you to the link, and if just follow that link.
Perfect, thank you.
And then also don't forget, there is a summary that you guys have to fill out. Do the summary, send it in, and then we want to make sure that we give you credit for that. All right. All right, let me go ahead and just I'm gonna go ahead and just start with share my screen here. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. All right, I think, all right, we're gonna go ahead and go over some terminology that you guys are gonna hear us talk about. A 501c3, you'll hear us talk about kind of it's a governmental regulation that defines a nonprofit. You'll hear us talk about NGOs. And one more thing, let's see. I think these are the main ones, but you'll hear us talk about this, and you'll hear us talk about the 990 form. This is the one that you're going to be downloading when you do your research. And it's going to share a little bit about the organization that you'll be looking, and you'll be pulling numbers from their financials. So you hear us talk about this 990 form. Okay, so, I wonder if, I think I need to share a different view here. Let me stop this real quick.
There's two 990 forms. One is a 990 tax return. And that's the nonprofit's tax return. And the 990 analysis is the form I asked you guys to print out. That's the one where you score the nonprofit based on, you know, how we think it should be scored.
Oh, I had the wrong slides. That's why it wasn't letting me change the view. Okay, I think I got it now. Okay. All right, guys, bear with me. Go back to share. All right, can you guys see that?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so okay, I'm not sure what's happening here with my slides. Okay, that is so weird. Okay, so bear with. All righty. Okay, here we go. I think I'm on track now. Sorry, guys. Okay, so this is gonna be class participation. All right, what do you guys think? Can a nonprofit make money?
When we say money, are we talking about gross return or are we talking about profit?
Profit, revenue.
Profit means no.
Also,
would-
don't forget, whenever you use this pencil, if you guys had fill out the, or you guys printed out the homework page, whenever you guys see this pencil, this where you fill in your fill in the blanks. Okay. So what was that question? Did you guys can a nonprofit make money?
I would say no.
No?
Like to generate revenue.
According to the answer, like no profit, but the answer, you can collect money with some things, but not making profit of the organization. I guess. I'm just guessing. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's actually, yes, they can charge for stuff.
Yeah, they can generate revenue.
What about employees? Can a nonprofit pay employees?
Yes.
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 Yep. The answer is yes.
I'm confused.
Okay, so what makes a nonprofit a nonprofit? You know, the money has to be spent in line for the purpose of the nonprofit. So this is a great question here. How many tax exempt organizations are in the US?
Oh,
What do you
wow.
guys think?
A lot.
How many-
Thousands.
Yeah, how many? Let's take a guess. What do you guys think?
500,000.
100,000, yeah.
At least
For over 1 million.
500,000.
I'd say closer to 250,000, but who's counting?
It's actually 1.6 million.
Oh,
1.6 million registered as a nonprofit.
Is anybody surprised about that?
No, I mean, I guess I
Yes,
shouldn't be.
no, maybe.
Yes,
When
I am.
when I first took the class, I was one of the most surprising things I saw. I didn't realize the extent with how many there are. That's a lot. One of the reasons we do the class is to help you sift through the nonprofits, because there are bad nonprofits and there's really good nonprofits. But anyway, that's a big number.
Yeah.
and that asks the basis of how many do you actually need? You know, how bad is the market that you can justify this amount of spread?
Yeah, there's no rules on how many there can be, but it's a good point. It has to meet a need of somebody or something.
Right, not just
And
exist
there's-
for existence
And
sake.
there's a lot of them that are maybe set up and very inactive. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of inactive ones also.
I think that's also one of the reasons why we like to do this research, you know, these local charities, so that, you know, you'll be surprised. Some of them are way overly funded, and some of them, you know, they'll take, you know, whatever, any donations. So it's nice to actually see the ones that really need help. But we have the right to look at their 990s, their financials. You'll come across some that they'll have a 990 easy. And so these are really small nonprofits. You know, we're looking at nonprofits that are ranging between 200,000 to 40 million in range. So anything that's below the 200,000, it might be something that, you know, they're just starting off, or they don't have steady donors. So we're looking at ones that don't have these EZs or this postcard. So when you're looking at the 990s in GuideStar, which we'll show you how to do that, I want to make sure that we stay away from these.
Now, why do you need to stay away from the easies, like specifically? Do they
small.
not have enough detail?
They're too small
Too small.
of a nonprofit.
I see.
We also have a new form that makes it a little easier because we do make exceptions. But yeah, the easy just really is skimpy on information.
I mean, if you have one that is a small one that has like this 990 easy, if it lines up with your passion, something that you can say, you know what, they're doing amazing work, they're starting off, and give a story about them, the board will look into that. I've seen them accept some of them, and they'll actually grant the $1,000. So it's up to you. If it's something that you're in passion, it has your passion, then by all means, you can take a look at that. So like I said, these are ones that are too small, for the exercise portion of it. So GuideStar is a website that is, if you guys want to do, we're gonna send slides out, so you'll need this username and password for you to log in. If you guys want to do a screenshot to save the password, because you'll be using it when you do your own research. Do you have the GuideStar already queued up?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you gotta unshare though.
Okay.
So yeah, we're gonna go into the GuideStar webpage, and we only have one active license. There's a free version, but most of the time you can use our logins and all that. But when we're doing class, we ask you not to do it because otherwise we get kicked out. So let me share with you, there's a chat here. No, you didn't have any homework to submit really. I think we offered you some get ahead homework, but there was nothing you had to submit. So let me go to, first of all, is there any questions so far? Okay, this is the GuideStar webpage, guidestar.org. And the sign-in is right there. So what what happens with this site is not everybody has to be on here that's a nonprofit. However, if a nonprofit really wants to kind of have a certain stamp of approval, they get the information to GuideStar and they get registered with GuideStar. But you can see in here some of the nonprofits and they rate them. GuideStar has their rating, and they rate people gold, silver, platinum, and whatever. So we'll show you. I'm going to kind of navigate between apparently that's I think we have somebody from Denver, so in case you're worried about not finding something, there's plenty of places in Denver. There's 10,500 nonprofits in the Denver area, and so a lot of times this is how people find. In other words, when we say you have a passion for something, I realize that might be taken a bit far, and you might just not know. You're a good person. You like some stuff. You like different things, and you've maybe never thought of it in this way. And what we're trying to do is have you build a relationship, make a little grant to a nonprofit, and kind of in a way establish a relationship with that nonprofit. But if you're in Denver, there's 10,000 different nonprofits that you can at least take a look at. You're not going to obviously do that, but that just gives you an idea of what's there. If you want to see the platinum ones, that'll give you the platinum ones. we don't really use their score, their system, but it tells you a little bit of what's going on. So for example, here we have Big Brothers Big Sisters of Colorado, and they're bringing, it looks like they're doing they bring in $5 million worth of revenue. And I think what we're asking you to do, if you can, is to get an organization between 20,000 and 60 million. So these guys would fit right in that ballpark. And so you can kind of start taking a look at them this way. So this tells you a little bit about their mission. And this is where you find the boring tax returns. And I gotta find it myself here. Here we go. So these are the forms that are what we're wanting you to look at. And I know looking at tax returns is the favorite thing to do of about one person in this world. But it's where we get the information that's financial, and it helps us figure out a little bit of how they work with the funds that they have, that they either get the funds from the government, from donations, from maybe a few things they sell. But anyway, this organization's got a platinum because they're keeping their records up. Sometimes an organization may not have the latest up here, but a lot of times we'll let you can use 2018 form if they don't have anything more recent. But anyway, this is the tax return. It's a really boring looking form because it is, but it kind of tells you a lot about the organizations. And I'm going to go into the kind of the certain lines on these things to kind of give you a feel for them. This is on page 2, they always put what they're supposed to be doing or what they're in the business of doing. And so that'll give you kind of an idea. But these tax returns can be long. Like this one's 40 pages. But we basically tailor our look at these nonprofits down to maybe 5 different pages because it gives us enough information to know or have an idea of what they're doing. So anyway, I'm gonna switch back to our notes, our class, and I gotta move my screens around a little bit. Let me find the right screen. There we go. Any questions on that?
I have a question about how you access it. I know you just shown your email and then the password. Are we saying that we're all collectively going to use the same password, or should we be opening our own accounts?
No, you don't have to open your own account. Oh, no wonder. No, you can do a free one. You can open an account. They charge you a little bit for it, but you're more than welcome to use our account. The only thing we just don't want you to do it during class, because a lot of times we're going into GuideStar during class. And if you go in while we're in, then we get kicked out. And so it's just one at a time. I think we have a second one also, but most of the time.
Share? Will you share it then? Because I thought you were going to put in the chat or something. It just came out. It wasn't clear, like the email or the password. So I don't know if you'll just share it in the chat or something.
Oh yeah, you're gonna get a copy of our class notes anyway.
Okay.
Okay, can you see? Yeah, you can see this. So that's the GuideStar page. This is the page I showed you, and then this was the arrow down where you can find the 990 forms. That's a little hard to find. But it's always on the right-hand side, kind of towards the bottom. And sometimes they update these web pages and then it makes you really crazy. So this is the form I asked you to fill or to print out. So we look at 6 different categories. And in these categories, we can kind of get a feel for for the nonprofit. And so I always ask students in the first couple of classes to have a couple of these available so they can kind of practice along with us. So that's a form we've created to, at least from our perspective, what we think is important. So what do we want you to look for? It's line 12. This is the first one. And maybe let me try something here. Do you guys see the tax return now on there? On your screens?
No,
No,
no.
No?
no.
It's just showing up as a blank box.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, no problem. So I'll just flip to it in a minute. So line 12 is 200 to 40, 200,000. I think I said 20,000. It should be 200,000. And then compare line 9 to line 12 and then see what the percentage is. And so let's go back to the one that's on the screen. Let me see what's down here. So let's just use this one. So line 9 is the revenue line. It's the program service revenue. And line 12 is total revenue. Okay. So on the little sheet that you printed out for me, what does it say to do? Somebody?
Sorry, divide line 9 by line 12.
Exactly. So it's on your sheet there. So because this is a lot and it's confusing, but it's listed right here, line 9 by line 12. So we're looking for basically a percentage. We do it in decimal. Sometimes it's a little easier to understand. And so that's what we're looking for on the tax return. So on this one, it would be line.
I might have the wrong file because it says divide by 8, line 8 by line 12.
It does? Okay. Should be line 9. I think we had an error, one of them that had an error, and we must have given that one to you. I'm sorry. Would you send me an email on that?
I will.
So on this form, yours says line 8.
That's correct.
Okay. So anyway, it's line 9 by 12, and we're looking to see where they're going to be on this coding sheet here. So somebody can do me a favor, get a calculator and tell me what this is. 9 divided by 12. What is it as far as a decimal? Or a percentage is fine.
0.948.
0.95. Okay, 0.95. So on our scoring sheet, what would we give them as far as points? See the how to score box?
You still be 1 point then?
Yes, because it's 0.94 if she did it right. And that would be 1 point. So you'd put a number 1 in the box here. Okay. So I assume it looks like it's pretty close. And so basically what we're looking for here is we're looking for what percent of the money they receive comes from charging for goods and services. If it's more than 70%, then the organization's really not, or doesn't really rely on donations. They're mostly relying on selling stuff. Okay, most of the times, the ones that I see anyway, they have a 3, they get a 3. So they're doing less than 70%, but maybe that's because that's what we're asking for too. So that's what's going on here. 9 by 12, that goes in the first box up here, and you put your little score in there. But here's another one. Oh, looks, oh, you know what? We have the scoring right up here. If I'd pay attention, right there. See that right up there? Sometimes there's so many numbers on here that I forget what I'm doing. So they get too much revenue from charging customers. This one is 0.02, which is 2%. So they get very little revenue from charging customers from whatever they're doing. So that's kind of the difference, and that's this A row. That's what we're looking for. So does that, I know it's a lot of numbers in front of you. Does that make a little bit of sense to you?
Yeah.
Most of you?
I'm mainly just concerned about like what criteria are we going to be working off of to base on, you know, what companies are liable for being good companies to donate to or not. Are we going for ones that are based on donations and we're just acting as a donor, or are we trying to, you know, accelerate how countries are companies or NGOs are able to be self-sufficient? Like
Yeah,
that's kind of the thing I'm asking myself.
yeah, that's a good question. And we're trying to give you the financial piece,
Okay.
because if the finances don't make a lot of sense, it doesn't make much sense to go a whole lot further. I've had people in our class that have been ripped off by nonprofits. We had a lady in Mission Viejo, and she had lost $110,000 to a scam. And so she decided to come to our class, and if she would have done our class, in theory, she wouldn't have been donating to that particular nonprofit because it was a scam. So we're looking for different things in here, and I'm going to go through each one. But this is just a way of how they're getting revenue. Is that kind of, that's kind of what we're taking a look here. B, we're looking for how much people are getting paid. And you'll see some surprising things coming up, but that's another line that's pretty important to us. And I think your point is, you know, this is the financial stuff. What you really want to know is, are they good people doing good stuff? And certainly that's what we're want you to be able to, you know, to determine. Okay, so accomplishments is, you know, are there activities in line with what your passions are? Is there another organization you might like? In GuideStar, you're able to search by types of organizations. Ideally, they list how many people were impacted by each activity, and you divide the expenses by the number of people. So they're talking about this page, it's page 2. And this is what they do, 4A. We're looking at 4A, 4B, and 4C. So we're basically focusing on 4A. This group includes direct stipends to students, fees for student activities, classroom instructions, SAT, other test training, student materials, student jackets, student meals. It's probably a program to help lower income or more disadvantaged students. And so this spells out what they do. A lot of times you can find it on their webpage. Hopefully it matches. And so what we suggest, and this isn't on our score sheet, we just say maybe take a look at how much they're investing per unit of whatever they're doing. Like if this was a group that did, let's say, feeding, a food or not a food, a mission or a place that gave, you know, did meals, the number obviously would be a lot, you know, it'd be like $4 a meal or $3 a meal. So it just depends a little bit on what they're doing, but it gives you a feel for what the cost is per unit. Again, that's not on our score sheet. It's not one of these guys anywhere, but we put that one on to kind of, just for you to kind of get a feel for what they're doing. And page 8, we're looking at the second line down. And sometimes this page is blank. And if it is, it's on a form somewhere near the end of the packet. They have to disclose salaries and compensation in these 990s somewhere. Most of the time it's on page 8. And what we're looking is how large is the total compensation of the highest paid employee, and does that seem fair? And how many employees are earning more than 170,000 per year? So if we go to this page, this is actually page 7. We find with this group, they had two salaries that were listed. And so, they're both over 170,000. Our criteria for a 3 in our form. If you go back up to this form,
Turner and Christy Turner.
what we're doing is we're looking for people that, or we're looking for organizations to be reasonable in here. And so if 2 or less make 170,000 or more, 2 or less, we give them 3 points. If it's greater than 3, we give them 1 point. So that's what we're kind of doing in this part right here. And this part can be kind of interesting. The 2 that you see are married. And so they're bringing in about over $500,000 between the 2 of them. So what you have to decide when you see information like this is, we're not telling you they're good or bad. We're telling you this is the information. And if that works for you and that's okay with you and that's, reasonable, that's good. We just want you to know, what's going on. Because a lot of people don't have any ideas. And I think what holds a lot of people back from being generous with nonprofits is somebody being overcompensated and really using this as a way to make a lot of money. And so that's what we're looking for here. Here's an organization right here, okay? And it's an organization that I know you've all heard of. Can you see what's going on here? This organization had, I think, over 20 employees or 20 board of directors or officers. And this was the kind of numbers that you'll see on their 990 form. And if you can see, I have right here the little snippet of how we're giving them points. So these guys right away would just get 1 point. Okay, you can see there's a whole nother page. And can anybody tell me who they think this might be?
It's the American Red Cross.
Okay, the American Red Cross. And did you know, or did you guess that, or did you know that?
A little bit of both, in that I know they're flush with cash because they're a customer of ours. We do IT consulting and have worked with them for a number of years.
Crap.
And then, but to be honest, I Googled Gail McGovern.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Well, I saw the
well,
form had ARC 990, so that was a tip off that something with those acronyms, and then the next page had American Red Cross on it. So I figured they're coming from the same 990.
Okay. And that's fine that you did IT work because they got money to pay you, right? I'm an IT guy.
Yep.
So if I work for a company, I like to work for a company that can pay me. But but the thing that I want people to realize is this is what kind of goes on with American Red Cross. It's not good or bad. It is what it is. My owner or my friend, Steve Bray, always rags on the Red Cross. He won't give them anything. And sometimes there's disasters so I'll challenge Steve. I'll say, okay, Steve, if they don't use the Red Cross, because we know the Red Cross will be there, can we give some of our alumni some options of other ways to get funds to wherever that tornado was, that fire, that whatever the disaster was, so we can help them and we're just not being negative. And so that's what we try to do. Sometimes people will ask us, are there some other alternatives? But yeah, I know, and we had Red Cross up here too, but my point is I think there was about 25 or 30 that were just in some big numbers. And this is from 2012, just so you know, right up here, 2012. And so there's a lot of people have a lot of different attitudes about the Red Cross. And there's a lot of different sources. But the feedback you get on the Red Cross is you get feedback from everything from they're great to they're corrupt. And so whatever source you use for information, and that's a big deal these days because most of us think we're being lied to by almost everybody these days. But whatever your source is, that can be part of your getting information about a nonprofit, if it's, especially when it's this big. But anyway, I think they found, Grassley's group found that only 25% of the income was getting to the people that had the need. Okay, does that wake anybody up, or did everybody already know that?
News to me.
Rondi, what did you think? What do you think? Tell me about what you think so far.
It's shocking. You know that there's some corruption out there, but when you actually look at the numbers, it's really eye-opening. And it actually makes me want to investigate and do my part. So I appreciate you showing that, because I tend to be more on the skeptical side as is, but I appreciate the factual numbers, not just I heard through someone, but here's the reality.
Right. I think that's the good thing about GuideStar is you're your own news source, because you're seeing tax returns. If they're lying on tax returns, they're really taking a lot of risk. But it kind of gives you, it gives you the picture. And again, you might end up still giving some Red Cross money or some blood or whatever, but you have your eyes open and you have an idea of what's going on. But there's 5 messages on here. Oh, try to mute your microphones when you're not on. Thank you, Rondi. Gio, what do you think so far? I think your mic's on mute, even though it says it's not on mute. Let me try Anna. Anna, let's try you.
Yeah, I'm just actually blown away as well, like Rondi. I've heard things about that, about like Samaritan's Purse. So it does make me want to go and investigate, because I know there are so many campaigns, right? You see the news commercials, you see billboards, all about that. And then to find out they're only giving 25%, it's pretty crazy. And I know people that justify it, right? It's easy to justify the more work you do and every year you need an increase and this and that, but it is hard to think that people would misuse money like that, or I don't know. I guess maybe I just have a higher expectation for nonprofits.
Yep. Very good. The other thing to do is this article I showed you is to be skeptical of the article. Like it says 25%. Now that kind of sounds a little low to me. And so maybe whoever I pulled this from has a little thing about the Red Cross. And so, if you're really trying to consider what you should do, then maybe go look at a couple other sources and see if the numbers come in about the same from, 3 different places. Diego or Troy, both of you, what do you guys think?
I would say that it's definitely, numbers don't lie, and you have to look at the truth and the stats just to really get a good idea of what you're contributing to, and not just say, hey, like I'm doing this and I have good faith that they're gonna, do right by what I give and donate and all that. But yeah, numbers don't lie, and it is an eye opener for me for sure. So,
and for me, being in school, I've been learning a lot about researching your sources and finding out what's really true and what's not. So this is also a good representation of really figuring out Are these people genuine about their answers and what's coming out of them? Is it actual true information or is it falsified?
Yes.
It's very good. You guys are like on your games tonight. Marilyn, you're from the Wednesday class, so let me see how good you are on your answer.
No, I mean, it was definitely eye-opening. Those are some significant salaries that you just showed there, over $500,000, 300,000, I mean, but I do think for a little part of me, just what is a, proper salary for, that organization obviously is bigger than some of the other ones that we're going to be looking at. So what is a
Right.
fair, here in New York, it's where I'm from, right? It's a very expensive city. So if you're doing that kind of work, the cost of living and, and such. So I think that, but you made a point about looking at that and using your own discretion on it when you're looking at those top salaries over 170. So that'll be
Right.
something to think about. I think I'll think about what, where they're based out of, because cost of living is different and, what's a fair salary for some of these folks.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
And
Another thing
we're
I
trying to
consider
work-
as well, if you're at, the top 20 of a company, you're going to be putting in upwards of 50, 60, 70, 80 hours a week, depending on the, the tasks at hand. And so sometimes you need to have that kind of compensation in order to justify the role that you're sitting in. Like that's a big deal in the big three in Chrysler, where we're at, just because it's a very cutthroat industry. And there are a lot of industrial demands if you're working anywhere past a certain pay rate. And
Right.
so yeah, you got to make sure the worker's worth a wage, but how much is too much? That's
Right,
the other end of the coin.
That's what I was thinking when I saw the 564K
Yes.
annual. I'm like, I don't know, it feels a little high, but that demand of the job and what you're actually doing. So it's interesting to think about
Yeah,
that.
if it's a, $5 billion thing, that obviously the salaries are going to be different, but anyway, it's just so you have the information, because we tell you we're doing this so you guys have the information. I mean, we're helping you with $1,000 grant, which is great, but we're hoping in the future that when you grow in generosity, this gives you a tool to take a look at what's going on. Some very great answers, though. Let me get back to what we're doing here. Okay, so that's the hammered. We hammered the Red Cross pretty good. So the statement of revenue is on page 9, and it determines how much each of the revenue comes from government grants. Because another thing that goes on with a lot of this stuff is government grants. Okay, the government doles out a whole bunch of money. And everybody has opinions on our border crisis. And a lot of NGOs are down there that get a lot of money from our government. And I think, in my opinion, it's abused greatly. Some people disagree with me with it, which is fine. But a lot of that money is coming from government grants. The government's picking the winners and the losers on some of this. Organizations primarily funded by the government may still do great things, and many of them do. But the reliance on the government is a risk. And the reason it's a risk is if your income is, let's say, it's 95% from the government, if the government chooses not to fund you, you're done. And so it's not spread out amongst a lot of groups. Sometimes when a different party goes into a government, they have different things they like, and so they'll cut off certain ones, and they'll add to others. So basically, you're at the mercy of somebody else, which is called the government. But you can see this is on page 9 of a tax return, and we got some numbers in here. So we have government grants at 5 million, and the total amount of money coming into this group, whatever name it is 7.1 million. And so if you do the math, which I have on top here, and I'm paying attention, it comes at 0.78 is the number. So 78% of their revenue is coming from government grants. And so on our little chart here, they would get 2 points. So we're saying more than 80% is not very good. Under 60% is pretty good. And that's pretty generous. I mean, that's still a lot of money coming from the government. So that's your little box C. I put it there in the diagram for you. And what to look for in a 990 on page 10, which we're going to go to next. These are the functional expenses, like the maybe the office salaries, salaries for advertising, promotion, rent, alarm systems, IT guys, stuff like that. And so that's a lot of what this is here. If it's high, also grants to other organizations, because there's certain nonprofits that get $90 in and they put out, they get $100 in and then they'll give out 90. So they're really just a distribution of money nonprofit. And so that's one thing that we take a look at. It's on line 1. You'll see it on the next slide. If it's high, the organization is primarily just giving funds to other organizations and requiring administrative overhead to do so. So it's okay that this happens, because the organizations they're giving money to may not get anything if they didn't have this kind of help selling and getting funding for just through like a broker, a middleman. And then divide line 1 by line 25. Is it more than 10%? So you'll see on this page. Let's just go here. So here's pass-through grants. So the money coming in. Okay, this is expenses. Okay, this is what they're sending out. This is grants and other assistance to domestic organizations and domestic governments. So they're bringing in $57 million, or they have $57 million of expenses, which are down here. Yeah, 57. And they're passing through 2 million, so they're at 4%. And so at 4%, they would get 3 points. So I don't know if I've explained that one real well, but it's basically pass through money to other nonprofits. It's what we're looking at here. And we're saying if you're passing through more than 80%, you get 1 point. You're doing too much. And if you're under 60% or 0.6, you get 3 points. So you guys are being kind to me, because I assume by your silence you understood what I just said.
I have a quick question.
Sure, great.
So it looks like here it says you divide line 1B, which says numbers are accurate, and then it says 25B, but it looks like the number that you had that you used in that equation was 25A. Does it make a difference? Because the sheet says 25B.
Yeah. Oh, on the
example that you were just showing.
On the coding sheet?
Mm-hmm.
Or on the example I have here? Yeah,
the number that you used, I don't know if you can pull that back up. It looks like it was 25B instead of 25, or 25A instead of 25B.
Yeah, 25. What are we saying up here?
It's the arrows, yeah.
The arrow.
Yeah, follow the scorecard. These are
okay, so it's supposed to be 25B.
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
Yeah. He just did a screenshot, and it looks like he might have grabbed showing the wrong box.
Okay, great. Thank you.
That's why I almost get fired every time I teach. But anyway, Just kidding. So they basically,
Guys, I know.
so anyway, that's what we're looking for in, what do we say on our sheet? Where'd our sheet go? It's page 8. Oh, sheet, where are you? Oh, right here. 25. Oh, you got in here, we have line 1B and 25B. So that's what it should be. And you're saying I had A on both of them, maybe? Send me an email so I correct that.
It was just the example that you used. It looks like the equation that you made on the very top, you pulled the
Right.
number from the A. So I just wanted to make sure that we were correct and it was supposed to be B. So,
That is
but
supposed to be-
your analysis form is fine.
Yeah, okay. The analysis form is fine. It's just the teachers sometimes are a little off. But that's why we have all these forms. So we're oops, wrong one. Okay, so this is the one that the arrows are a little bit off. So page 10 is the functional expenses, and basically we get down to management, administrative, fundraising expenses. So on page 10 of the tax return, you'll see the big number is in column A, and that's what we're taking as a total, and we're trying to figure out what the percentages are on a couple different things. So management is 518,000, wherever I have that, divided by 8 million is 6%. And so on our sheet, what do we say on the sheet for management? Anybody?
3 points.
3 points.
Are we on we're on E, right?
Yeah.
So they got 3 points. Okay, cool. I just didn't see the number on the sheet here. Oh, there it is, right down there. So it's 518, which is down here by the second arrow, divided by 8 million is 6%. And at 6%, we give them 3 points because it's less than 10%. So basically, we're looking at trying to see if these things are at 10%. And then we have over on fundraising, 228 or 229, it's 3%. So smaller numbers, less than 10% are really what we're trying to find here. Those are reasonable numbers and in most cases. Now, sometimes in fundraising, I see really low numbers. And sometimes people think they're really pious or holy because like they don't spend any money advertising or on promotion. But I always say this, if you're doing something really good, let people know about it. You know, spread the good news, let the world know. And that's what promotion is. It's just sharing your story. Now, there's a lot of different ways you can do that. You can have little get-togethers. Some people do weekend things. Some people do a golf tournament, and all of that can be abused. But basically, we're saying if it's under 10%, that's good. But I also say if it's under 3%, you need to like spread the word a little bit more and spend some money letting people know what you do. So basically, this is your sheet. And so what we do is you go in that right-hand column, and I'll give you a couple to score this week so you can practice. But you go in that right-hand column, you fill that in, and then at the bottom, you can tell what we're looking for. If your organization is less than 15, there's a chance it could be approved, even though it says it will not. But you better have some really good reasons. Like the board has a couple people that kind of decide on these. Now, I want to say this. once you've learned this and you kind of follow the spirit of what we're doing, we approve almost everything. Especially if it's 17 or 18. Sometimes at 15 though, we just need a little bit more. You probably have to go talk to them a little bit or call them and give us a little more information on really what you want to really see us, that money used for that. But anyway, 15 or 16, it's unlikely. And then 17 or 18, it's likely to be approved as long as it meets the other requirements. The requirements basically are it has to be within 100 miles of where you live. And the primary function of what the nonprofit does has to be within 100 miles. I had to turn down a GU student. She gave me a score from an Orange County office that did stuff with horses and horses helping people and that kind of stuff. The problem is the horse ranch or whatever it was in New York. And so I had to turn her down and she cried and I felt bad. But I mean, we're trying to have it local to where you are. You can maybe go see it, and that's where the activity is, because offices can be anywhere. Okie dokie.
I have a question.
Sure.
For example, I was talking with a guy who works for InterVarsity, and that's a nonprofit organization, but what they do is everybody needs to raise their own support in order to be part of their organization. Are we giving that grant to like individuals, even if they are like representing this kind of like nonprofit organizations, or the money has to be given to the nonprofit itself and they will decide if they can give it to the guy or not?
Yeah, we don't approve support of the individuals. We say it has to go to the organization or some activity in the organization, but it's not for people raising their quote support. Now, if you're not a church person, because you guys got to remember, we got to mix people in here. Support means that in certain organizations, people raise their own salary, and then they go out and do what the nonprofit has them do. It might be helping people, it might be sharing spiritually with people. But anyway, yeah, the answer is no, we don't raise support or salaries.
Thank you.
Okay. Any questions on that? Now you can do two organizations if you want. You can split it, 500, 500. Or you can just do one. Let me see, what is our time? 20 minutes. I think we could go through one organization. Now you guys got your sheets there, right? So let's go through the tax return I pulled up, if I can find it on here. Okay, are you guys seeing Big Brothers and Sisters of Colorado?
Yes.
Yes, but it's just too small.
It's too small. Let me see what I can do.
Yeah, can you zoom it?
Yeah. I don't know if it's
There you
just
go.
my connection or it just seems awful fuzzy.
Awful what? Fuzzy?
That's
Out of
better.
focus.
Yeah, I think it's just your connection, my dude.
Yeah, it's really good.
Okay, super. Okay, we're gonna go through. You guys are gonna help me because I haven't done this one before. So let's do A, so we get some practice. And one of you tell me what A is all about and tell me what you get on here. So I can't see you guys. So Veronica, pick somebody.
Diego.
I'm so sorry. What was that question?
We're gonna do some scoring. You ready?
Yes.
Okay.
You have your score sheet there?
I have our calculation when we're ready.
Nice.
Okay, do you have your score sheet?
Yes.
All right, let's go.
Okay. Go ahead and do A
So-
for me.
Yeah, so the percentage
Email that they sent out.
the percentage of their revenue that comes from services is 0.25%. So 0.0025.
Okay, so what numbers did you, what number is line 9?
Oh, 12,371.
Okay, good. And then line 12 is,
Total revenue is 5,044,525.
okay, so that's like 2% or something. Okay, so what would you give them as far as points?
They get 3 points.
Get a big fat.
Sweet. We're off to a good start.
3+.
Sweet, thank you. All right, Veronica, pick somebody that can do B for me. That's pages 7 and 8. Whoops. This is page 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's go real quick here. Remember to go to page 2 to see what they do. Like these guys are mentoring kids. Looks like big brothers and big sisters. So that kind of, again, that tells you if that's what you have an interest in. I think one of you stated, what is it that they do? The numbers are fine, but this is what they do. That's their wheelhouse. Okay, so we're going to page 7 and 8. Page 7. Okay, here we go. So far, oh, Veronica, you got to pick somebody.
Grant.
Grant?
Yes.
Hey,
Okay.
Grant, have your score sheet?
Yes. So we're counting how many people earn more than around $170,000.
Right.
Okay.
So
Looks like
there
no.
was only one person with 137, I think I saw at the bottom.
Yeah, scroll
Wait.
down.
So it looks like that's the only person listed.
Oh, okay, that's the CEO.
So
Okay.
that's fine with 3 points there.
Okay. Now, let me tell you something. Sometimes there may be more information somewhere else. And if you suspect it might be at the end of this tax return, sometimes they put it in different places. Another way they can hide money is with contracts, like when they're contracting to their IT people. They may not be on payroll. That might just be a contracted amount. So you just gotta be careful. But anyway, 3 is correct on this one.
What about
And-
like bonuses and things like that? Are those also part of like the full salary that's listed there, or would that be shown somewhere else? I didn't know if that was a thing.
They
Great
have,
question.
it's reportable compensation. So if it's a bonus, it's got to be in the reportable compensation.
Okay.
They even have compensation from related organizations. Okay,
Are we
good.
going to be able to have access to a company's itemized budget expenses for being able to track topics in terms of those contractor questions?
If you ask the company, if you ask the
Oh,
nonprofit.
gotcha.
to give
Okay,
it to
so
you.
it's not released like an N90 form is. Okay.
Right, I don't think it's it might be, I just haven't, I haven't seen them in these forms. Okay,
Okay.
let's go to C. C is page 9. And let's get the teacher on the right page, that's me. Okay, Veronica, pick up the next,
All right,
Oh,
Ed.
Mr. Ed. What are we doing on C here?
Okay, 1E, which is 450,000.
What he wants to know what you.
Okay,
Oh, we're
Shows how
doing
much.
statement of revenue. Line E shows how much of their funding comes from government grants.
okay,
We got 1E, which is 450. What's that? 878 divided
Okay.
by 1H, which is 2256. No, that's not H. Where's H?
Down.
we can't see. Oh, no, there it is. 5,000,003.
So it's
429.
how much is it?
So it's 9%.
9%? So what do they
Yeah.
get?
1 point.
They get,
1 point, right?
no, they get 3 points. They're less than 60.
Oh, wait, I was looking at the wrong line.
3 points.
Less than 60%, right?
Yep.
And they got 9%. Awesome. Very good. Thank you. So when you start pinning them down, it starts making a little sense. It's just sometimes hard to find these numbers because we're not used to these forms. So good job. Thank you. Are we on E or D?
We're on D.
D?
Yes.
Okay, page 10. Veronica, you can pick somebody.
All right, Rondi, you have your score sheet?
We do.
Okay.
Page 10, statement of functional expenses. Line 1 shows how much of their expense are giving grants to other US organizations. So divide 1B by 25B.
So 1B is it's 0. You still there?
Yes.
Okay, so 1B is 0.
Okay.
They don't do any. So they automatically get what?
25B. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Because they're 0, doesn't matter what the other number is. They'll be at 0%. And so what is 0% in our row D?
3 points.
3 points. Very good. And 25B was, I didn't show you 25B, but this is column B, the second one over. Because I'm forever going, where's B? So it's 2 million. 2.2 million was what you were dividing 0 by, but 0 is 0, so it came out at 3. So thanks so much. Very good. Number E, page 10 is still page 10. So Veronica, who's our next good student?
Let's have Blake go.
Blako?
Blake.
Oh, Blako.
No, I said let's have Blake go.
Yep. Hey. Polake. Right here.
All right, let's see. All right, Dan, go to the column. Scroll up.
Okay, so we're looking for the line 25C, right?
Yep.
This is column C right here. So we're going down to 25C right here. So what's that number?
$306,074.
Okay, so that's 306 divided, and this is A over here.
Yep.
306 divided by that is how much? Or what decimal or what percentage?
Yep. Let's do it real quick. Yeah, so percent of management and overhead expenses relative to total functional expenses, 294,105 is about 0.09 or 9%.
Okay.
So, yep, based on the scorecard, that's 3 points. So
3
less than
points. Okay, so at about 9% on management and overhead, so that's very reasonable, especially for this size group, this size number. Very good, thank you, sir.
Thanks.
And then F is the last one. So pick somebody, Veronica, and this is 25D is right here. Yeah, 25D. So who did you pick?
Casey,
Okay, so 25D, right? That's the fourth column. Shows how much their expenses are allocated to fundraising. So we have 756.
Yes, sir.
825 divided by 25A, which is 3,294,105. And I have 22.9, so 23%, which they would, according to that, we would give them 1 point.
Okay, super. Well done, thank you. So you said, I think 25% or something like that?
It was 22.9, so I rounded it to 23.
23%. Very good. So I think overall, did anybody write a number in each in each row for me?
Yeah, 16 is what it added up to.
16. So I think they had all threes except for the last one. And if this is one that you wanted to turn in, I think what you would do is ask a little bit more for more information on number on this last one, just to find out why their number's so high on promotion. Because that could be where stuff's going on that is, maybe optional. Or you think, well, they're just spending money on promotion, because that's kind of high. But anyway, at 16, it's probably 50-50 they'd get approved, but it just depends on what kind of presentation you make and how much you really have invested in your heart of trying to get it approved, I think is a way to prove it or to share it. So it's Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Colorado that I just picked by random. I think GuideStar gave them platinum, if I remember right, when I picked this one.
So on GuideStar, the gold versus platinum versus silver, that basically just displays how much consistency the organization has in its reporting of its expenses.
That's GuideStar. I don't know exactly
Yeah.
how they do it. It's just kind of how they see it.
Okay.
That could be another one of your measurements. Like if they're platinum, that you could have a little your own score sheet, and you'd say that's worth 3 points because they're platinum on Gold Star.
I guess depending on how they set up their criteria.
Yeah, and I'm sure they spell it out somewhere.
Okay.
All right, Veronica, you want to finish this up? You got 6 minutes.
thanks. Okay, I just want to show you guys what the form looks like. So as you guys are doing the gathering all the information. So this is the organization review. Can you guys see my screen? Okay, perfect. So this is going to be on the GU website. You would download this form, and once you identify your local charity, you want to go ahead and just give us information on what they are, what they do, what impact they're having. You will fill out this information, make sure you have a tax ID number, and that will be on GuideStar. And then you want to go ahead and just write a little bit about what they do, what their how the program is being run, what impact they're having. You want to go ahead and put the scorecard. You want to go ahead and put down their 990 financials. Anything you can provide. It's actually nice so that the board can actually really look at the nonprofit. And so you would put information here about yourself, if you are currently supporting this organization, if you're going to do any kind of volunteer work, anything that we would want to just kind of get a little bit of more background. But that's the form there. And let's see here. Oops.
I think go to page 30, Veronica.
Page 3?
30.
Oh, on the slides. Yep, let me just shift gears on this side. All right, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Page, I don't even know what page. Oh, here we are, 30. Okay, did you already cover this one? No. So Dan gave the range. anything, 16 above, 16, 17, 18, ideally 17, 18 is what they're looking for. 16, like, give your, your story, why you select them, why you think they should get the grant, anything that you want to go ahead and share. The board will go ahead and review it. They might come back and want more information, just be prepared for that. But sometimes I've seen them, approve it. The organization review, this is the one we went over. You want to make sure that you're, you filled this out, give as much information, the 990 analysis, have you been involved have you supported this organization? Why did you pick them? Is it your passion? Is it something that you heard about? Is it something that you want to get into? And do you, the process is, it's once this gets submitted, the board will review it, they will vote, and if it's good, then you'll go ahead and get $1,000 towards that charity. And so what I like to do is, when I do grant, request or grant reviews, I go as far as I actually tour the facility. I go in person. I want to meet with their directors. I want to get a tour of the facility, what they're doing. And so you kind of get more of a broader knowledge, talking to them versus sending an email or trying to even, get in contact with them. So the more information you have, you'll get a broader knowledge of this, of these organizations, and you can pick two, you can do 500, 500 to each if you want to pick two, which is actually a nice opportunity for, two organizations to get some funding. And it's kind of nice when you can actually go down there and give them the check, and it's nice to get a, giving university will, donate towards that charity. Did you want to see any videos, Dan? I mean, I know you have the last slide of some the cancer, Children's Cancer Fund. Do you want to show that, or you think we're wrapping up here?
I think I'll show a different one, but I'm gonna put that in the email. So if you don't mind, because I keep the time pretty tight.
Yeah, I just saw
just it's on a fraud nonprofit. And we just want you to kind of get a feel for what a fraud nonprofit looks like. So we'll email that out to you.
Okay, we're done.
And,
I got a quick question.
Sure, go ahead.
So I know you guys don't want us working with stuff that we're closely affiliated with. How close is not close? Like if there are local places you've been donating to for years, your business has, but you don't really know that much detail about them, is that too close, or something you really know nothing about?
Mostly what we mean by that is if you work there.
Okay.
So if you've been donating, and it's one couple things. One is challenge yourself if you can find a different one or something similar, just to expand your knowledge. But if you're working there, that's kind of, we just say we don't fund the one you're working at. So basically, what you're saying would be fine.
Okay, it'd be interesting to see some stuff that you've been donating to for years, your business has, to really have a better idea if they're as worthy as you think they might be.
Well, the good news is you'll find out their score, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully you won't be surprised. Hopefully you won't be surprised.
Or disappointed.
Yeah.
Or disappointed, yeah.
All right, so I just want to make sure, you want to select an organization that's within 100 miles, because we want to make sure that it's local. And, pick something that, we like to see organizations that have not been picked. There's so many out there that are doing amazing work. We always like to see, new organizations. And, as we're going, towards the homework here, you want to make sure that, you pick two, ideally, 2 or 3 that are in line with your passion. If you want to do, like I said, 500 each, that's a great opportunity to, split the funds there. And that's pretty much it. And we're done. 35 slides.
When is this?
I have a question about the to find these organizations, we just need to type the name, or do we need a tax ID of the organizations?
Well, you can go into GuideStar. I don't know if it sorts it by tax ID. But I think just go into GuideStar and pick your area, and then you can start there.
Okay,
I don't know.
thanks.
I don't know if it does it by tax ID. And there's also not every organization's in GuideStar. And if they're not in GuideStar, you can still use them, but you need to ask them for their tax returns.
I have a quick question. So, what if the nonprofit doesn't have a facility?
Probably okay.
Okay.
Tell me about it a little bit, real quick.
They are like housed out of, they don't have a facility, but they are doing with people who they're helping people buy houses. Minorities buy houses is their goal.
Okay, and they have tax returns and all that.
Yeah, I'm gonna look them up just to make sure, but I think they do have tax returns and all of that.
Okay,
They just don't have a facility.
okay.
Okay.
Let's just make sure they're legit, and that'd probably work.
Okay.
See how they score.
All right.
Can you hear me now, or?
Yes, sir.
Would a previous employer work?
Yeah, if you're not working there, that's fine. Previous should be okay.
All right.
And then there's a question here, if the
But-
organization
but
gets
Let me say,
rejected.
let me say this though, stretch yourself a little bit on it if you can. The previous, it might be too easy for you to do. But it's fine, maybe do it, that way you'll know where they stood.
Yeah, I already did the scorecard on them. They scored 16, so it was pretty good.
Okay, they'd be 50-50.
Yeah.
There was a question here, if the organization gets rejected, do you get another chance? And the answer is yes. You would need one that passes in order for you to get credit for the class.
Here's the really good news about that form. Is in the old days, you would just turn them in. Now, because you guys self-score, when you turn them in, you pretty much know if it's going to get approved or not approved. Because if you turn in a 14, you just know it's going to be a no. If you turn in a 16, it's maybe. An 18 is probably almost guaranteed. But if you do that part first, then you don't invest all the time in all the grant proposal part. It saves you time because you know where it is, from the financial side. And we're not just about finances. This is the 1 week we take a lot of time on finances because we know it's much more than that. But on the other hand, a lot of you learned a little bit about the Red Cross tonight, and that just gives you a little balance in how you see things. Okay, so I'll send out a link to the fraud nonprofit. I'll send out a tax return that you can practice on. And I think we're done. Is there any last minute questions? You guys did a really nice job. Thank you. It's a hard part to teach because it's so it's complicated. And nobody ever looks at tax returns, and the columns don't always line up and all that good stuff. So anyway, I apologize. It gets a little sloppy sometimes. But we do the best we can.
I was just curious as to when this is due in the process. Is that next week or, just before you end, or how does that work?
Well, once you start doing your organization, you'll present it to the class, to us. So you'll kind of share a little bit about who they are, what they do, what they scored. And so we want to start seeing those start coming in, hopefully starting next week, maybe in 2 weeks. But yeah, all of you will be presenting to the class.
Yeah, nice, thanks.
Yeah, the sooner the better, because a lot of people wait till the last class. So we try to get you geared up going for it. Anyway, we'll close up. Thanks, Veronica, and thanks, class. And we'll see you guys next week. It's the same time. Next week, the week after is a little later because of the Super Bowl. And then the week after that is off because it's President's Day weekend, I think is what it is. So thanks so much. If you have any questions, just email us. Email Beth. You guys have her email. Email her when you need to change which class you're going to for that week. And we're really good about letting you do that.
And sorry, did you tell us what time the Super Bowl Sunday one will start, or was that to be determined?
I think 7:30.
7:30. Okay. Thank you.
Because part of me doesn't want to do that, and part of me does, because I realize, the Super Bowl is bigger than God anymore. So I deal with reality. Let's just put it that way.
So that means it would probably be 8:30 for like Denver.
Yeah, 8:30. So take a long nap that day instead of 15 minutes, take an hour and 15-minute nap.
And
It's
sorry,
Sunday.
that's the 5th, February
That's the
5th.
12th.
Well,
That's
Oh,
the
the
12th.
12th.
of-
7:30.
Is that Super Bowl Sunday,
Yeah.
the 12th?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, 7:30
And
Pacific
there's
time.
no class on the 19th.
Okay.
Right, there is Super Bowl Sunday, but the next week there isn't. Thanks so much,
Only
you guys.
keeping me up to midnight for that, but all right. That's what duty calls.
Well, that's why I want you to take a long nap that day.
Copy that. I got to work the next morning, but whatever.
Okay, see you later. Love
All
you
right, thanks,
guys.
everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Dan,